imagination, a pencil or pen this size, and a few simple ideas, your drawings and doodles will spring into life. Just watch this. There's a great way to bring your cartoons and drawings to life. Draw in some special effects. Cartoon special effects. Now, look at this very simple sausage man that I've drawn here. He's standing still, putting two lines just round by his hand, and there you've got his hand moving. It looks like he's waving. Now, the more lines you put in, the more it looks like your cartoon is actually moving. Look at that. In fact, if I even put some squiggly ones in, it looks like he's shaking like a leaf. Well, not only can you get movement into your cartoons, you can also get direction. Here's a runner. I'll put some movement marks in, just to show that he is moving. Now, what about direction? Well, he's moving in this direction, so put some whiz marks in. Even stick in some smoke there to show he's running very fast. Well, not only can you get direction and movement into your cartoons, you can also tell what they're thinking. Have a look at this fella here. Well, to me, he looks fairly angry. So we'll put in some anger marks. What about this chap? Well, he looks to me like he's had a bright idea. Ding! And what about this fella? Well, he looks to me like he's very puzzled and hasn't got a clue. It's good, isn't it? Try it yourself. Even in your comic strips. Oh, it's brilliantly. Take a look at this footballer. There he is, whizzing down the wing there. The ball is moving very fast. Then up at the other end of the pitch, the goalkeeper is waving to a girl in the crowd. Ah, this gives me a good idea, says the footballer. Ding! So what does he do? He boots the ball right to the other end of the pitch. There's the whiz marks. Now here's another one. Impact marks. Put some impact marks there, just where he booted the ball. Look out behind you, shouts someone in the crowd to the goalkeeper. So he's moving his head. Which direction? And he's turning around very quickly. Too late. The ball whizzes up, hits him on the head, impact marks, and flies off in the other direction. Unfortunately, into the back of the goal. And there he is. He's lying down there. He's seeing stars. And he's got a black eye as well. Meanwhile, the footballer is jumping for joy. Goal, he says. Putting his movement marks there. And the goalkeeper's teammates are absolutely furious. So much so, they've got steam coming out of their ears. The goalkeeper, well, yes, he's shaking like a leaf. And as for the girl in the crowd, she's now got her eye on the footballer. If you ask me, love is in the air. And what happened to the goalkeeper? Well, his teammates made him wash their hot, sweaty socks for the rest of the week. And if you ask me, he deserves it. Good day, try it yourself. Special effects for your cartoons and bring some life into them. The one thing all cartoon characters had in common is they've all got great facial expressions. And you know, you don't have to be a great artist to create great facial expressions. All you need are two eyebrows, two eyes, and a mouth. Just keep it very simple and watch what you can do with a face just using these three things. Okay, well let's keep the eyebrows the same and the eyes. Let's just move the mouth. Look what happens. And give it a nice big grin. Suddenly, the whole face explodes into life. Right, well let's keep that smile there. Nice big wide smile. Let's keep the eyes the same. Let's alter those eyebrows and see what happens there. Just bring them down a bit. Suddenly, a big cheesy grin turns into a menacing smile. Now the idea is to just keep it really simple. And do you know who the best person is to teach you how to draw facial expressions? Yourself. All you need is your own face and a mirror, and it's a case of looking in the mirror and seeing what your facial features are doing. For instance, what about your eyebrows? Do they go up or down? Your eyes? Wide or narrow? And your mouth? Smiley or down in the dumps? And just keep looking in the mirror and drawing what you see. So let's try a few of these features then. What about sad? Well, what happens to my face when I'm sad? Well, the eyebrows, they go up in the middle. The eyes stay the same, and the mouth down at each end. So let's draw that. The eyebrows up. There's the eyes. And there is one very sad mouth. Good one. Let's try another one. What about shock? Eyebrows shot up in an arc. So I'll do that. Eyes, very wide. And what about the mouth? Very wide. And there it is. Shock. And you just keep going. Look it in the mirror and draw in what you can see. Keep practicing. Practice on other people. If you see someone on a bus, draw them on the back of your bus ticket. Just keep practicing. Now it's a case of building up the rest of the face now, and that is where this stuff comes in. Tracing paper. It is absolutely brilliant, because what you do is you lay it over the drawing that you've already done and the bits that you're happy with and experiment. So okay, let's start with some eyes then. What about nice big eyes to go with my mouth? Oh no, it looks like the character's just about to eat me, doesn't it? Looks like some sort of wide-mouthed frog. Okay, what about some shifty eyes for our character? Nah, a bit evil, I think. What about, let's see, I know, some cartoonist's favourite. Cross eyes. Actually, you can make a good mad rabbit out of that. I don't think we do a rabbit there. Too many of those around. How's about really big, wide eyes? Nah, it makes my character look nervous. What about some tiny eyes? Actually, that's not bad, you know, good contrast with the big mouth. The problem with very tiny eyes, though, is that they're not very expressive. So, to compensate for that, let's see what happens when you stick in some big eyebrows. Ah, now that's quite good. So what have we got so far? Well, we've got tiny eyes there, and a nice big eyebrows up there. Right, I'm going to stick with that. Now, what about our character's head? Well, a lot of famous cartoon characters are actually animals. So let's see what our character looks like as a dog. Scruffy top there, big floppy ears, dog's collar. Oh, quite good. See what it looks like as a cat. Cheeky whiskers at the side there. Well, that suits him because the big cheesy grin. Let's try something else. What about snake? Ah, I like that. The problem with a snake, though, is it's not, you can't get many features in, and you can't get his hands in, and you can't do many things. So let's try putting in a couple of accessories, maybe a hat on the top. Oh, that's good. See what that would look like on the cat. Big hat on the top. It's amazing how when you start putting things in, the character comes to life. Do you know, I really like that. Now, we all know that to make a cartoon character speak, you put his words inside a speech bubble. But when you put words outside of the speech bubble, they become sound effects. Now, there are loads of different types of sound effects you can try. Quiet noises. And there are large, chunky ones for the louder noises. And for the louder noises, you can always put a jagged edge around it. I always think it makes it look even louder. What about for long, drawn-out noises? Well, make it long and drawn out. For shorter noises, make your word shorter. What about noises get louder? Just simply the letters bigger and bigger. There it is. So it all depends what type of sound you're looking for, whether it's long or short, quiet or loud, and put some cartoon sound effects into your cartoons. Now here's a cartoon comic strip that I've been drawing. I want to put some sound effects into it. So there's our hero. He's walking home one night. And what's he doing? He's a musical note in there. He's just whistling to put sound effect there. From the castle on top of the hill, he suddenly hears a cry for help. Ah! Very long cry, long word. He runs up to the castle, pushes open the old oak door slowly. Spooky noises like that. So it's good to do the words wobbly. When he got inside the castle, everything was very dark. Suddenly, there was a very loud and chunky crash of thunder. And a bit of lightning. Yes. Everything was still and dark. And from the corner of the room, he heard... Well, I don't know how to spell that, so I'm just going to put... Again, wobbly, spooky lines there, going up and down. He'd appeared into the darkness. He couldn't see anything. Suddenly, there was a puff of smoke. For those muffled noises, it's always good to put your word in a cloud of dust. And then have some gust marks coming down the side. Like that. Standing there in front of him, in a weird sort of light, was a ghost, making the most awful noises. Now I'm going to put some dribble marks in here, and that will help the sound of it. Look at that. Not very nice at all. Our hero leapt at the ghost. They both fell to the floor with rather a loud bang. So again, big chunky loud noise. And sometimes the noise is so loud it fills the frame and it goes over the edge. There are two noises, a bang and crash, and put them both in the frame. When the lights went on, our hero was standing there holding a white sheet, underneath which were two of his mates, laughing their heads off. It had all been a rather sick joke. His mates laughed. Louder, and louder, and even louder. Look at that. And what did our hero think of this? Well, it's totally unrepeatable. Try it yourself. Put some sound effects into your cartoons. Quick cartoon of an elephant, starting with his trunk. Put his trunk in, a few creases in the trunk, the old elephant. What else has an elephant got? Well, it's got a huge body. I've got to put that in there. Put his legs round there. And scuttling along. What else has he got? Well, an elephant's got big ears. Tusk in there. A little smile on him. Some eyes on top. I'm going to leave it like that. Keep it simple. That's a good tip, that, you know. Next time you're drawing a cartoon or caricature of an animal, pick out one or two of their most obvious features, in other words, the thing they're most famous for, draw them first, and build your whole cartoon around those things. Let's see if it works for a whale. Okay, well, whenever I think of a whale, I just think of a huge body with a big smile on it. They always have big mouths that are smiling. And a tail. Just put the tail in there like that. And then they've got a little eye. Put that in. Get a letter on there. And they've always got these spurty, spouty bits at the top. So I'll put that in. There it is. Again, just keep it very simple. Cartoon of a whale. What about a parrot? Well, to me, a parrot is all beak and feathers. So there's the beak in there. Some feathers in there like that. Give him a wing, of course. More feathers on his breast. A few little claws. And on a branch. He's got some tail feathers down there. There he is, a parrot. What about a lion? Well, to me, a lion is all mouth and mane. So let's do it like that. Mouth first. Mouth in there. and a lion. If you look at them closely, they always have these lovely heart-shaped noses. So put that in. And what about his mane? There goes. Shaggy mane. Put his legs in, his front legs. And his back legs behind. There it is. A lion. So what about a dog? Well, it all depends what type of dog that you've got. Take my mate Cosmo, for example. Hello, Cosmo. Now, the first thing you notice about him is that he keeps walking across my drawing. Well, he's got loads of fur, hasn't he? So I'm going to draw that in. That's it. Loads of fur in the top there. And he's just got this little button nose. So I'll draw that in. And the rest of him is just loads of fur. Loads of fur on his face. And on his legs. Yes, loads of fur again. And on his feet, even more fur. And of course his tail, that never stops wagging. Loads of fur. And there he is. Good tip to remember that, you know. Next time you're drawing a caricature or a cartoon of an animal, pick out one or two of its most obvious features, put them on your cartoon first, and build the rest of your cartoon around them. What do you think, Cosmo? Have you ever noticed how many different types of clouds there are in cartoons and comic strips? They're everywhere. Well, to start with the obvious one, weather clouds. Now, clouds up in the sky are very easy to draw. It's just a case of drawing little curved lines in a ring like that. And you can put one cloud behind the other, like that. Or you can make them an irregular shape. You don't just have to do a ring and do them going all over the place like that. You could even put the sun behind them, just radiating out like that. And if you want to make your clouds look even fluffier and thicker, just take a light blue pen or pencil, just draw some little curved lines along the inside of the cloud. They look nice and thick and fluffy like that. Well, it's not just weather clouds that you get in comic strips. What about some special effects clouds? Now, here's a dust cloud to start with. You've got this dust cloud just creeping along the floor like this, little curved lines creeping along the floor, and they get bigger the further away from whatever is making the dust. Look at that. And what about some whoosh clouds? There's a whoosh cloud. Watch this. Makes it look as if the car is whooshing along. Now, here's a good tip to remember how to draw whoosh clouds. Just remember 33. Watch this. Little 3, big 3, and then a couple of whoosh lines. And there you have a whoosh cloud. Do it again. Little 3, big 3, and then you've got a whoosh cloud. Now, you also get whoosh clouds in explosions. Explosions are very easy to draw. You just draw this very crazy star shape and write inside it whatever noise it's making, bang, crash, or even wallop. And then you've got some whooshes coming out the side. Remember? Little 3, big 3. Draw another one in there. Little 3, big 3. And if the whooshes are going the other way, you have to draw the 33 back to front. There it is. One up there. Little 3 and a big 3. It's okay. Let's put some special effects clouds into this comic strip. There's Cowboy Tex riding across the desert on his horse. Dust absolutely everywhere. Little curved lines just creeping along the floor, getting bigger the further away from the horse they get. Lovely weather though. There's just one cloud in the sky. Little ring of curved lines there. Tex gets very tired and he decides to stop off for a coffee break. So he lights his campfire. You get little puffs of smoke coming off the campfire, just rising into the air again, just drawing little curved lines in a ring. Very soon he falls asleep and his coffee pot starts to boil and you just get whooshes of steam coming out. Little 3, big 3, there's a 33, do another one there. Little 3, 33, there it is. Meanwhile, on the other side of the mountains, the Indians are watching the steam rising from Texas campfire. Now, as we all know, cowboys and Indians love their coffee. So all the Indians get onto their horses and go galloping across the desert towards Tex. Dust flying everywhere. Look at that. Little rings just getting bigger, creeping along the floor as they get further away from the horse. Now Tex panics. He thinks they're chasing him. So he gets onto his horse and he gallops off into the distance with a whoosh. Now this whoosh is back to front. So you've got a little 3, big 3. Another 33 back to front there. And one more down here. Watch this. Little 3, Big 3. And so the Indians didn't get their coffee after all, which made them very angry. In fact, so angry, they've got whooshes of steam coming out of their ears. Look at that. And there it is. Try it yourself. Put some special effects clouds into your cartoons. Have you ever noticed how many different ways there are of drawing eyes? Well, an eye is just basically a lemon shape with a wheel inside it, like that. And the outside of the wheel is the iris, the coloured bit, and you can just draw it as lines like that if you want. And the inside is the pupil, and that's black, and if you colour that in and just leave a little dot like that, it makes it look as if the eye is sparkling. And don't forget the eyelid with lashes on the top lid, wispy lashes, and wispy lashes on the bottom lid, and maybe an eyebrow up top. Now this is basically a realistic way of drawing an eye, but there are simpler ways. Cartoon eyes. What about doing an M shape like this, with a line at the bottom of it, and then 2 circles in there for the pupils, and I don't even do the iris this time, you don't have to do the coloured bit, and put some V's in the pupil like this, and watch what happens when you colour them in. If you leave that V, it makes it look as if the eyes are really sparkling. And don't forget the lids and the eyebrows. And there's an even simpler way of drawing cartoon eyes. You've probably done this many times before. It's just circles with dots inside the circles. And if you put the dots on the right-hand side, the eyes are looking to the right. If you put the dots on the left-hand side, the eyes are looking to the left. And again, don't forget your eyelids and your eyebrows. And the eyelids and the eyebrows give your cartoon even more expression. And you know, it's amazing how expressive and versatile your eyes can be. In fact, your eyes can sometimes speak louder than your mouth. Have a look at this comic strip that I've drawn featuring 2 cats, Tom and Jerry, who live in dustbins. Now, I'm not even going to draw the cats. I'm just going to tell the whole story by drawing their eyes, just to show how expressive they can be. Now, early one morning, the alarm rings, and it wakes Tom up with a start. And when you're shocked, your eyes are open very wide, tiny pupils, and your eyebrows shoot up in the middle like that. Jerry, on the other hand, was the lazy one. He wasn't bothered at all. In fact, he was still half asleep. When you're half asleep, your lids get very heavy, and they half cover your pupils like that. And again, your eyebrows are up like that. Tom had a sneaky idea. Now, when you're up to mischief, your eyes narrow to slits like that. Look at that. Really mischievous. And this time, your eyebrows come down in the middle. Big mischief. He decided to pick up a wooden mallet and bump Jerry's dustbin with it with a big clang. Now this sent Jerry into a complete daze. And when you're dizzy, your eyes, they sort of spin round all over the place, don't they? So this time, I'm not going to draw the pupils as dots. I'm just going to draw them as little curls, one up there and one down there to make it look as if they're spinning round. Your eyebrows go all wobbly all over the place, and you start to see stars. So draw little stars in up there, spinning round. That's a good effect, that. Now, of course, this made Jerry very angry indeed. And when you're angry, your eyebrows come down in the middle, almost to a V, like that. Look at that. And they almost cover your eyes. Now, he was so angry, Tom couldn't bear to look. In fact, he started to fill up. And when you've got tears in your eyes, they go all sparkly, don't they? So I'll just put that V in again to make it look as if his eyes are very sparkly. And draw him filling up, some tears in the bottom there. In fact, you can even draw your eyes shedding tears like that. And again, eyebrows up in the middle. Tom got really worried because he knew what Jerry's temper was like. In fact, he couldn't look at Jerry at all, so he scrunched his eyes up like this. And when you scrunch your eyes up, they almost go to crow's feet, like that. Well, nothing happened, so after a while, he peeped out of one eye, so just draw the pupil in, like that. But not to worry, because Jerry had fallen back to sleep again. And when you're asleep, your lids come right down over your eyes, so there's no pupils at all, and your eyebrows are up in the middle. See that? All those expressions created just by drawing eyes. Very expressive and versatile things, eyes. Try it yourself. Experiment with different expressions and draw some cartoon eyes. Haha. Now, let's face it, most of us are terrified of drawing people, aren't we? It's so difficult, with all those different shaped arms and legs and different coloured eyes and hair. No one looks the same. So here are a few tips to help you make the perfect portrait. It's a peephole. Brilliant for helping you draw those difficult parts of a face. All you need is a sheet of paper, cut a hole in the middle, any shape or size that you like, and then take a photograph of a face from a magazine, or one of yourself if you've got one, and simply scan the photograph, and through the peephole, put the bit that you want to draw. Now I'm going to try an eye. Then you take this. This is the bit that you cut out from the peephole, lie it right next to your peephole, and it's simply a case of copying exactly what you can see through the peephole once you've cut out a piece of paper. I'm going to start here with this shape of the eye. Now this is a brilliant method. It really works. It helps you draw those parts that you might find a bit difficult to do. And the reason it works is because it draws your attention right into the centre of what's in the peephole. So all we're seeing at the moment is the eye. We're forgetting about the rest of the face. Of course, you don't have to do the eye. You can do any part you like. There it is. Got all the flesh colour in there. I've roughly got the shape of the eye. It doesn't matter if you go over onto this part of the paper. There it is. There's the shape. Now I'm going to put this shading in. You can see this line down here. Just draw exactly what you see through the peephole. In fact, sometimes you even forget that you're drawing the part of a face. That's the whole idea. Just bring that shading around there. A bit in shadow there. So I'll put that in. Now, the eye itself, I'll do that again in brown. There's the eyelashes. Nice dark brown for them. Just around the edge. And around the top, they're a bit darker, so I'll press harder. And I'm just drawing exactly what I can see through the peephole. Now, the good bit, the middle of the eye. So I'm just going to do around the edge of the iris, make it nice and black. Just usually have a black ring around the edge. And then the colour of the iris itself, make that a nice blue. It goes. Just drawing exactly what I can see through that peephole. And then the middle bit, which is the pupil, great tip this, always put those shiny bits right on the edge of the pupil because it gives you drawing life. There it is. A little bit of like bloodshot corner there. Probably tied eye. A little bit of shading around the edge of the eye. And there it is. Not a bad job, even though I say so myself. And of course, you can take away your peephole, put your picture over the top, just to see how good it really is. Try it yourself. Pick any part of the face, give yourself a peephole attack. How do you draw noses? Well, you can draw them like that, or you can draw noses like that, or you can even draw noses like that. Now that's okay for a quick doodle, but if you want to make your cartoons a bit more realistic, think of noses in terms of bridges, bubbles and balls. That's a bridge at the top of your nose, a bubble right on the tip of your nose, and the two balls are the nostrils, one on either side of your nose. Now how does that look like on paper? Okay, well let's draw the nose from the front. There's the bridge, and then you've got a bubble at the end, and then on either side, the two balls are the nostrils, like that. So already that's beginning to look a bit better. And from the side, you've got a bridge there, and then you've got the bubble on the end, and then you've got one of the balls, or the nostril, on one side, and you can't see the other one because it's on the other side of the nose. Now, of course, not all noses look the same. Sometimes you may have a very short bridge with a huge bubble on the end like that, and you can hardly see the two nostrils because they're just tucked away. Or you may have a very long, droopy bridge with hardly any bubble on the end, like that. Maybe two big nostrils at the side. Now it's amazing how much character a nose can give a face. Watch what happens when I draw the same face with different noses. Let's start with a very distinguished nose, like that. Okay, remember that. And then let's do a very different nose on this one. What about a little turned up bobble at the end? There, like that. It's already looking a bit different. And then on this one, let's put a sort of very wobbly broken conch, something like that. And then again, something very different, a long bridge, little bubble at the end, and huge nostrils like that. And you know, it's amazing how much a nose can give a cartoon character its identity. Let's have a bit of fun with this. Look at this. Okay, Buster, said Mr. Big with the big bobbly nose. Where did you put the jewels? No problems, boss, said Buster, the crook with a very crooked nose. I've hidden them where no one will ever get a whiff of them, boss. Just put his hair in like that. Nice broken nose there. Ah, no one will ever get a whiff of them, eh? That's where you're wrong, said Inspector Boffin with a turned-up, pointy nose. I know exactly where you've hidden the jewels. You've stuffed them up your nose. Thanks. Ew, how clever of you, said Lady Snooty with a little delicate button nose. However did you know? Elementary, Mom, said Pusey Hooter with a very distinguished nose. He knows because he has a nose for sniffing out crime. Do you have a bit of difficulty drawing people? What you need is one of these. It's called a mannequin, and look at this, it's got all these wooden parts of the body that you can move into any position to help you practice drawing people. Now you can get these from art shops. The problem is they can be a bit expensive, so why not make your own? All you need is a sheet of thin card. Now you can use cereal box card, and the first thing you've got to do is draw all the parts of your mannequin's body, and it's not as hard as it sounds. All you need to remember is sausages and eggs. Don't worry, I haven't gone mad. Watch this. For the body, you need to draw 2 egg shapes. Now, they have to be roughly the same size, but they don't have to be neat. You can neaten them up a little later on when you're cutting them out. Then draw a smaller egg shape next to them, and that will be the head. And then you need a neck on there, roughly the same length as your head and the same width. And now the sausages. These will be for the arms and legs. And just draw 8 sausages. And don't forget, sausages are thinner than eggs, but if you can, make them roughly the same size as your eggs. And again, I'm just doing it quickly here to show you. You can neaten it up and you cut them out. When you've done them, do 4 half-size sausages for the hands and feet. And there they are. And then cut all the parts of your mannequin's body out. Position them roughly into the position of your mannequin. Can be a little bit fiddly to do, so just bear with me there. And there you have all your mannequin bits. That's simply just a case of overlapping all the pieces and create your mannequin's body. Tuck the head in there, put the 2 bits for the body. There's the arms, the hands on the end, and the legs there. Slip them, overlap them, and there, finally, all the feet. And then you've got to join all these bits together using some of these. These are split pins, I'm sure you've seen them. You can get them from stationery shops, they're very cheap, or you might have some spare ones lying around in school. And the way to do this is to take one of the parts of the body that you want to put a pin in and just pierce with a sharp pencil a little hole as near to the edge as you can get, and put some sticky tack underneath to save the furniture. And again, it's the other bit you're going to stick it to, and then slip your split pin in through the hole on one, and then through the hole on the other. Bit fiddly, but then you open out the split pin at the back like that. Watch your fingers here. There we are. And you have a join that moves. And when you put the whole lot together, you'll have something that looks like that. Look at that. Your cardboard mannequin. And then it's just a case of putting him into any position you like. And you can copy him and practice drawing body shapes. Now that's a mannequin from the front view, but what about a mannequin from the side view? Well, you can do that as well. In fact, the pieces are all identical, except that this time, instead of putting the arms on the side of the body, you put one on the front and one on the back, and then you pop your pin through the 3 of them, and then your leg on the front and a leg on the back, and again, you pop your pin through the 2 legs and the body, and there you have a front and side view. And when that's done, it looks something like this. Look at that. And the great thing about these mannequins that you can't do with the wooden one is you can draw around them. Now, if you take a pencil and just draw very roughly, it doesn't have to be neat again, around the body of your mannequin, holding all the parts into the position. Let's just go all the way around. I'll do it quickly here to show you. And there it is, rough body shape in pencil, and then you can put the detail in a little later on in ink. And that's exactly what I've done here with these two pictures. Look at that, there's a skier. I did that in pencil first, and there is a dancer, again, done in pencil and then inked over later. And of course, you rub out the pencil lines. Now, they really are worth doing, you know, because they do help you practice drawing body shapes. Do you know, a lot of famous artists have difficulty drawing hands. Well, I found a good way of doing them. Simply divide them up into sections. Now, what have we got here? Well, the palm of my hand, I've drawn like a plate, and hanging off each side of the plate there is 3 sausages for each finger. And for the thumb, I've got 2 sausages there. There it is. Now, it's just simply a case of watching what each of those sausages does. And look at this. Put my hand into that position. What have we got there? Well, we've got the plate. And there. We've got 1, 2, 3 sausages there. We've got 1, 2, 3 there. The thumb. We've got 1, 2, pointing up like that. Now, if you do this in pencil, you can go over it afterwards with a pen. And then it's just a case of, you've done it, rubbing the pencil out. There you have it, a hand. Handy thing, sausages. Don't forget, keep practicing. And when you've got the hang of some of these techniques, you'll be ready to start making your own cartoons and comic strips. And finally, here are some great tips to make your drawings really dazzle. There are loads of different types of coloured paper you can buy, and the great thing about coloured paper is you can use the colour as part of your picture, so you sort of get one colour or shade for free. For example, look at this picture of a ball that I've started here. I just shade it in at the back here using some charcoal, and then I put some highlights on it using some light chalk. You've got the dark shade of the charcoal, you've got the light shade of the chalk, and you get these medium shades of the coloured paper for free. Now, there are some great textured coloured paper that you can buy, which is perfect for drawing on in charcoal and chalk, but they can be a bit expensive. So this is what I do. I tear off a strip of scrap cardboard from a cardboard box, and it's got a great texture on it for drawing on, and you can also use the colour of the cardboard as part of your picture. So, okay, I'm just going to start to block in the detail on my picture. Just very sketchily doing it. Now, this is something the old master artists used to do many years ago. People like Toulouse-Lautrec. He would just grab any old piece of board and use the colour of the board as part of his picture. And you know Toulouse-Lautrec, he's the one that did those fantastic sort of French posters. And you know, this is something else the old masters used to do. If they made a mistake, they wouldn't use a rubber to rub out. They'd use some ordinary bread. And it really is a good rubber. Just watch this. I just rub that corner there where I've made a slight mistake. I want to alter it. And just blow the bread away. And there it is. It's gone. And it's as good as a rubber. You could even use it for pencil. And just continue blocking in the shapes of my picture. Like this. And again, I'm just doing it very light with the charcoal. It's very wispy. I love this effect, you know. I love drawing in charcoal. It's sort of, it almost does your picture for you, doesn't it? It makes it look very arty. I never thought I'd hear myself saying that. I don't like things that are too arty. But watch this. I'll put some more detail in onto my picture now, using my charcoal. Just a bit of hair around there. And maybe a sleeve there. And again, you don't have to be too neat with charcoal. I think if you start to be too neat with charcoal, it really does spoil the picture. And yeah, I bet you've guessed what this is by now. There it is. That sort of gives it away, doesn't it? I don't know who it is though. I suppose with the long hair it could be Agassi. Although he probably changes his hairstyle by the day. So there you go. Little bits of detailing. Little socks down there. And again, just gently stroking the charcoal across my picture. Now I'm going to put some shade in. I'm using the charcoal on its edge here. And what I'm doing is I'm just looking for those areas that the light can't get to. So if the light is shining from this direction on my picture, all these edges will be in shadow or shade. That's it, down there like that. And again, not being too particular about it, just letting the charcoal sort of dances across your picture, and it does the picture for you. Look at that. And I just add some highlights in with a little bit of chalk, maybe across there, these highlights where the sun or the light can get to. There. Across there like that, maybe a bit on his racket. So that'd be glistening in the sun, wouldn't it? A bit up there. And just around the bottom there, like that. Down there. And on his socks. And you know, this is something you wouldn't be able to do on white paper. That's the beauty of coloured paper or card. You can add highlights in using white chalk. And I'm not going to do too much. There it is. Just finish it off, maybe put some shadow down the bottom. So you've got the darker shade of the charcoal in your picture, you've got the lighter shade of the chalk, and you've got the medium shade of the cardboard for free. Try it yourself, a 3-shade cardboard picture. Just take a very quick look at this cartoon that I've drawn. Now, what do you think is missing from the picture? I'll give you a clue. It's something that follows you around all day. Got it? Shadows. But where do you put the shadows in your picture? Well, here's a good tip. Look for the place that the light can't get to. Now, in this picture, the light is coming from this street lamp here, so I'll just chalk that in like that. And it'll be shining out in this direction. And it'll be shining down onto the man, down this side of him, so the light won't be able to get to this side of him. So I'm just going to draw in the shade down his left-hand side there. And of course, no light will be able to get under the brim of his hat, so I'll put that in. And just doing it very quickly like that, putting shadow or shade all the way down that side where the light can't get to. All the time looking for those little nooks and crannies. And put it on his legs as well, because the light won't be able to get under his coat. And don't forget, he'll be casting a shadow out across the pavement because the light can't get to it because he's standing in the way. And also up the wall like that. And there it is. Now, one place the light will be coming from in a lot of your pictures is the sun. When you're drawing your picture, you have to decide where the sun is in your picture. And let's just put it peeping over the horizon there, like it's going down at the end of the day. And then just look for the places that the light can't get to. So on the coach, it'll be in shade at the back there like that, maybe one of the wheels underneath. And on the horse's bottoms, like that, they'll be getting a nice suntan up front. And don't forget, the coach will be casting out a shadow along the ground. And on the cowboy himself, well, that side will be in light, and this side will be in shade. So he's got all his front with the light nicely shining on the front of it, and on his backside, so to speak, in shadow, like that, all the way down, just scribbling it in. Great effect. And don't forget, on his gun there, and down that arm. And don't forget, he will also be casting a shadow with the light shining between his legs, and how the shadow goes in that direction. And what about the cactus? Yeah, you've got it. It's down this side of the cactus like that, with the shadow out in that direction. Try it yourself. Put some shadows into your pictures and look for the places that the light can't get to. What a great art attack using white paint and chalk on black paper. And you know, I must admit, I really love winter pictures and snowy scenes, and you can draw snow the other way round, with black charcoal on white paper. Try this. Now, if you're going to draw a snowy scene on white paper, it's just a case of doing all the shapes and making them very fat and very fluffy, because the snow is covering absolutely everything. It's covering all the detail, so you can't see all the bits of roofs. And also, you don't have to draw your lines very heavily. You can just draw them very light and wispy, because in winter, you get that sort of winter fog or mist, don't you? And again, just drawing some trees in here, but I don't have to draw proper tree shapes because they're covered in snow, covering all the detail. So I'm just hinting at all the shapes and making them fat and fluffy. And again, just drawing very light, wispy lines gives the impression that everything is just covered in snow. And you also get a lot of sausage shapes, like on fences or on hedges. Just doing a fence here that you can hardly see, because it's got all these snowy sausages on it. See a bit of the fence peeping through, the fence posts. And of course, when it's snowing, you always get footprints in the snow, just leaving little marks. And over here, more sausages. Again, you don't see much detail because it's all hidden by the snow. And of course, in the winter you get lots of icicles on things, so a couple of icicles there. Yeah, you've guessed it. There he is. Quite in the shape. Very light and wispy snowman. And to really put atmosphere into your picture, just smudge the lines very lightly with your finger. Start here. Just looking for all of these lines and just gently smudging them. Let's see what happens. It makes it look all misty, like on a cold and frosty winter's morning. Not too hard. Just gently smudge the lines across your paper. Give it this lovely misty effect. A bit on the snowman. And there it is, a winter picture. Here's how to have a bit of fun with an ordinary school fountain pen. Here's a quick doodle I've done of a man with an umbrella. And watch out, it's started to rain. Look at this, absolutely lashing down. And the rain is starting to form puddles by the man on the ground. Now, watch this. Just take a paintbrush and a little dab of water on it. And just dab the water on the rain and into the puddles. And look at that, they really do start to look very wet indeed. Okay, let's try this. Take a goldfish bowl, empty at the moment, but not to worry. Let's just put some water in there, like that, and then let's put a goldfish in there like this. Weird goldfish, but that's okay, as this is Art Attack. A couple of scales there, put his eyes on the top, like that. Don't forget his mouth and his fins. And again, a little dab of water into the water, and look what starts to happen. The water starts to make the ink run everywhere. Before it goes too far, let's just dab it with a tissue, and there it is. It looks very wet indeed. Good effect, isn't it? Now, obviously, you have to use water-based ink or cartridges in your pen, because if you use permanent ink, it won't run. And, you know, you can use this technique to create some really great water reflection pictures. Try something like this. There's a waterside cottage. That's where I went for my holidays. And, oh, that seems like a long time ago. Just draw the water reflection, which is an upside-down mirror image. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, because reflections are never usually perfect, are they? Just draw it upside down, like that, and it goes there, and then it's just a case of dabbing some water onto the reflection. Here it goes. Now watch this, just into the water, across there like that, a little bit more on the brush, right across. Oh, look at that, and it really does look like a wet, watery reflection. Brilliant. Great fun to do, and with a bit of practice, you will discover some really good effects. Try this. Now, the clever bit. And now, just to finish it off, try it yourself. Have some fun with a fountain pen. Well, that's it. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. And don't forget to look out for others in this series. And remember, don't be afraid to try out new things for yourself, because there are as many ways to use these things as there are ideas in your own head. See you again. Ta-ra!